What's going on, guys? It's Alex Tex Kate, and today we are going to talk about the difference between my first ever Frankenstein rifle build all the way up to what, after years of teaching and competitively shooting rifles, what I ended up on, and how different it actually is from my original build. So, to get started here, I think we have all at some point remember when we were building our first AR-15, it was like building Legos. We could not wait. Most of us were 18 to 21 years old. We didn't have this 2,500, $3,000 to go drop to go get an HKMR 5.56 or a Daniel Defense or a POF for that matter off the rip. So what we were doing is we were buying PSA and Spikes Tactical parts kits and arrow kits, and we were slapping together whatever we could. By the end of it, you had a 50-50 between people. Half guys had a rifle that didn't fire a whole magazine without an issue, and no matter what, just could not figure out what was wrong. And then you had guys who got lucky like I did, and somehow I managed to build an incredibly shooting rifle that to today is almost as good as my main competition rifle I'll get into showing you guys. Not quite, could be matched for sure, but this thing still has its stock original cheap barrel in it. It was built with nothing fancy whatsoever. The nicest thing in this gun is a Geisley trigger and a Radian Raptor charging handle. Besides that, the Hogue stock, I mean, it has an Olight. It's not even a Surefire. Now, this Odin Olight has honestly been awesome, so I've never had a need to get rid of it and upgrade it or anything of that nature. Obviously, I got no can on it right now, but all in all, I built a good first rifle, and I still to this day love shooting it. I have a lot of fun with it, and the things that a lot of guys we think is important when we first get it is this twist on our barrel, but no way of testing it. The break on our gun, but no way of truly knowing what's good versus something else. We put so much time into building that right rifle that I just remember when I figured out kind of what I liked and finally shot a rifle that I loved right out of the box. I couldn't help but laugh at myself a little bit because of the ridiculous amount of time that we all, and it was fun. I'm sure you guys had as much fun as I did with it. Just figuring out what parts actually mattered at the end was about all of 5% of the total amount of obsession that was put into every little minute detail of that first AR build. So I'll tell you kind of, guys, what I got going on here. It's really, again, it's nothing special, but the thing shoots phenomenally. I've shot it in multiple competitions. I've never had a misfeed, a double feed. I've not had a single issue with this rifle as long as I've owned it, and it has been about 8 or 9 years now, I want to say, I've had this rifle. So we got a Hogue stock, a really standard buffer system in here, a nice little Hogue grip. I do like kind of the more rubberized with the texture, with the finger grooves on them. I've noticed I like that a little bit more when it comes to duty aspects. When you have a mix of weather, I don't really care so much for it on my primary comp gun, as I'll get to. I did put an Arredondo magwell on it just for fun. It's because of a guy who shoots competitive pistol and has so much fun with it. So here's an empty magazine here. It's very easy. It's very fun. And when I'm shooting outlaw with the guys, it is nice to rip out a 40 mag after dumping and right back in. But moving forward on that, I do, as I mentioned, have a Geisley S3G in there. It's a super dynamic 3-gun trigger with the lighter spring. The thing is absolutely phenomenal, and at the end of the day, when it comes to a rifle, having an effortless trigger pull can be all of the difference in the world. It is extremely light. It's about 1 3/4 pound. The reset is a forward progressive reset. so it helps you push that finger out. The bolt is absolutely nothing special. It was a Spikes bolt. It was the original one I put in there. It still runs phenomenally. It still gases great. I've never had to do any adjustments on the gas tube at all. I do like these barrier guards here. I believe it was BCM that I got that from. It has a Midwest rail, just a super standard rail. The Magpul bipod, I put it on just for fun outlaw stuff, and I take it off most of the time for any real reason that I'm using this rifle. But the where I have it sitting in my gun room, it looks nice this way, so I leave it on there when it's sitting around, when it's not locked up. At the same time, it is fun when I get to take friends shooting to have that bipod out there, because again, things that I thought were important, they aren't at all. The ambidextrous Raptor charging handle definitely was really nice to have. Same with the BAMF lever, which is my bolt release lever that is on the opposite side here. So if I want to drop the bolt, all I got to do is take my trigger finger and drop that lever there. It'll slam forward. I use an Olight with a pressure pad, which is nice. Again, it's an Odin. It's a 2000 lumen light. No, it doesn't catch on fire. I've not had any issue with it. I even left it on my bed on one point, and it really didn't, like, it was no crazy heat that was coming off of it, and I left it on for about 10 minutes. So it was fine. I do like to use these heat pads because when you are running and gunning, it does get pretty hot, and I don't like wearing gloves. I do have a CMMG brake on the end. That thing does do a great job. It does have a little bit of a kick, but it sends gases straight out, so no porting to send it one direction to the other, which is one reason that it will not be shooting the same as my main baby here. But Holosun 510, awesome optic, cannot go wrong with them. I really didn't need anything fancy on this rifle at all. It used to have the stuff I'm about to show you on it, so it was a little bit more equipped back then. But all in all, this rifle shoots incredibly. This build I could redo for probably half the cost than what I ended up spending into it, which includes all the parts I have sitting in a box that really didn't make any difference versus what I have now. But we got to figure out what we like, right? Moving past this Spikes tactical lower, arrow upper, Midwest rail, Spikes barrel, little Frankenstein love child here, we will get into one of the best rifles I have ever shot right out of the box. Now, I even took some time at SHOT Show to talk to these guys and let them know how I felt about it. But this here is my POF Renegade Plus. It is still a DI gun, a direct impingement. It is not a piston gun like their 415 Edge, which in reality, the 415 Edge or a piston gun doesn't really have any use unless you were running fully automatic or high capacity and suppression. But all in all, I have really enjoyed a lot of the aspects of this rifle in competition, especially that muzzle brake there. As you see here, this thing virtually has no vertical recoil whatsoever right out of the box. No issues whatsoever with that. The only thing I will say that, and POF agreed with me on, which they stopped doing, they started getting rid of this rail, Picatinny rail piece that's on the end of the rail to kind of slimline it. I will eventually chop mine off for sure. It does become an issue in VTAC walls. Now I have trained myself around it, but if I can eliminate it, I will. The trigger on this is in comparison to me spending $300 and something on that Geisley trigger, I'd say this is 10% less good, if that works as terminology. But I'd say the Geisley trigger is about 10% better as far as how smooth it is. This is extremely crisp, and it is very audible and something you can feel. So I feel when the trigger breaks on this gun, to where with the Geisley I don't so much. With the Geisley I might be more willing to do a higher rate of fire. Where with the POF, I'm a little bit more deliberate with every shot, which has a lot more use for me in competition, believe it or not, than just excessive rapid fire goes. But all in all, getting into customization of my POF, this is kind of my point to this video. I spent thousands of dollars building that little love child there to where this was just a $2,000 rifle. Buy once, cry once. I run this thing in 3-gun, 2-gun outlaw, PCSL, and then I teach law enforcement and military with this rifle. And every time I let one of them shoot it, they're mind blown by it. They ask me, what did I do to build it? Nothing. I bought it, and it came that good. So again, my point to this whole thing, what it comes down to is if you just buy the right rifle off the bat, get yourself a Daniel Defense, a POF, a CAC, you will be happy. Optic wise, I think matters more than anything in the ability to mount. When it comes to competition, acquiring a target, having a good trigger pull, having a good mount is going to be the biggest things anyway when it comes to rifling, which I can do easily with both gun regardless. So although I do like this one a lot more, I like the lack of recoil on this one a lot more, it doesn't mean that the other one doesn't return on target when I need it to, and that I'm any less happy with it. All I'm getting at here was you can spend all that time and money building your own because that's something that we like to do as Americans and it is our God-given right. Or if you're looking for something a little bit further, understand that if you do spend that $2,000 on that rifle from a reputable company, not just that new AR company because they're a dime a dozen nowadays, get one from POF, CAC, Daniel Defense, WMD is another one, JP. There's so many good brands out there, and I can keep going, but there's a lot of incredible rifles out there that they really do go above and beyond into making a one and done right out the box. And even like with this one, you get the ambi controls, you get the ambi charging handle, you get the awesome trigger. I threw a Warren ramp mount, Trijicon Credo, and a Holosun SCRS on the side. And I absolutely love this setup. So you can build one or you can buy one. Either way, whatever floats your boat at the end of the day. But from a competitor, I would go either way in the future. I just know nowadays my time is a little bit more valuable. So being able to buy one from a company like POF like this is absolutely a blessing for a guy like me because I'm trying to spend more of my time shooting and teaching and less time just trying to build guns. So anyway, that's my quick video on rifles. Guys, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'd love to do more rifle videos for you guys. If it's something you guys want to see, let me know. But thanks for tuning in. It's Alex Tex Kate signing off.